Well, hello softball fans, and welcome back to This Week on the Diamonds. I'm here with our co-host Travis Lape. Welcome back, Travis.
Hey, it's glad to be back. I'm glad the weather followed me back here too, though.
Well, I'm glad you brought it. You could have brought a little less wind, or Sandy, my other co-host here, Delker Holbert, you could have brought me a twist tie to put in my hair.
I sure could have, had I not lost all of ours from the last weekend.
Our first time back outside, though.
Yes.
It's so nice to have beautiful weather, isn't it?
It's a beautiful day.
We'll take this.
So what were you doing when you weren't with us last week? Tell everyone so they can be jealous.
You know, I had a wonderful opportunity to go with my best friend down to Hilton Head and play several golf courses over the course of 3 days.
Wow.
And so it was a great trip. It was something that I've always wanted to do, and this opportunity arose that he got a gift from his wife, and we got to go on a trip together to kind of celebrate his graduation from grad school and then starting a new job here today. So.
Oh, wow, cool. Bucket list.
Yep, check it off.
Nice.
Check it off.
Yep.
That's really cool.
So I missed last week on the Diamond, but it looked like you guys had everything under control. And
we were totally in control,
well.
huh,
Right.
Sandy?
Yes, we were.
We had fun.
The good looks were missing, though.
Right. Yes, they were.
Well,
'cause
now-
I was gone.
A third of the good looks. we'll go that far.
Okay.
We definitely needed, though, to bring the age level average down a little bit low. It was nice to have you there.
Absolutely.
Because I bring it up so high.
Right.
So, you know, there was a lot of softball happening this last weekend all around the state. I think we were talking earlier that maybe there wasn't quite as much because of the state track meet on the youth side.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we try to stay away from that weekend just because a lot of our teams have girls that run in the state track meet, and so it's just hard to put a team together to play in a tournament.
Yeah. Well, and I think most youth sporting events have learned that state track meet is not a good time to have anything going on.
No, because you miss one or two kids off of a team, and you don't know it until the end of May.
Yeah.
It just causes a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So it's better just to somewhat avoid that if you're going to travel to a tournament.
Yep. So rather than lament what didn't happen, let's talk about what did.
Absolutely.
It did happen. All right.
This past weekend, there's a lot of softball going on in Watertown. They had Fast Pitch Day at the Diamonds at the Coke Complex in the Foundation Fields in Watertown with 12U and 14U on Saturday and 16 and 18U on Sunday. They also had the slow pitch tournament there, the men's slow pitch tournament, the 26th annual Summer Swing Men's Slow Pitch Invitational. And then also in conjunction with that, I believe they had something else going on. Was it a co-ed tournament?
Co-ed.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had the co-ed tournament happening.
Wow.
I wish we had results for that. I was not able to find them, and taping the show a little bit earlier this week than normal because of everything we've got going on. It's hard for people to get all those results to us. But please, if you have results of the Watertown Fast Pitch Day at the Diamonds and the 26th Annual Summer Swing Men's Slow Pitch and Co-ed, send them in to us. We'd love to share them on Softball 605 on our Facebook page.
Absolutely.
And that was it for youth fast pitch tournaments this past weekend in state that I know of. Do you know of any others, Sandy?
Nope, not in state.
No.
No? Okay.
Yep.
It's a quiet weekend, but it's gearing up. I mean,
Right. We'll go full swing here in
June here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. Every weekend will be anywhere from 2 to 3 tournaments for our teams to participate in. So
Well, can you believe it's already June?
it's crazy.
It happens so fast.
Yeah.
Well, there was a youth slow pitch tournament here in Sioux Falls over the weekend, and I'd hoped to get to that, but as you may have heard, and you guys both are aware, we have a family wedding coming up this weekend, and the last weekend before a wedding, there's a few details to take care of. So I missed it, and I really feel bad about that, but it was at Denham Park. They had several age groups there, 18 all the way down to 10 and under. They had sponsor trophies and individual awards, so we hope to get the results of that and share them as well.
Yep, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to going to that. But, I want to put the unexpected company, and that's the way it works sometimes.
Right.
Now, going on to men's slow pitch. What did we have? We went over this last weekend. What do we have coming up this last weekend for men's slow pitch?
The last weekend?
Yeah, what was happening?
Wasn't there a huge tournament in Rapid City? Is that
Spearfish. Spearfish was having a big tournament. They had men's and women's.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they had, and I did get a little bit of information on the A-Town Clash. We've talked about the A-Town Clash since show 1.
Right.
Because we thought that was an interesting name for it. And Travis, you missed it, but we know why it's the A-Town Clash.
Okay.
Because it's in Aberdeen.
Makes sense.
Yep. A-Town Clash was this last weekend in Aberdeen. And it was really an interesting event because all the proceeds go to the Brown County Relay for Life.
Oh, what a great cause.
So we really thought that was pretty cool. They had United to Fight It team fundraising events. They had t-shirts for sale. They had both men's and women's divisions, and I did get an update. The teams that were entered in it, in the men's Rec 2 division, I don't know if the women's division came off because I did not find anything about that one, but Carlson Trucking, the Gunners, the Pest Pros 2, Troy Adams Trucking, Ristow Insurance, Docks Construction, Zubar / Wolf Stop, Schwann's Bud Light. Those were the teams that were in the Rec Division 2, and in Rec Division 1, there were the Go-Getters, the Young Guns, Dr. Lucky's, Lamont Companies, HKG / Vision Care, and then Circus / Sodak and Miller Motors. But according to their website, despite the cooler weather on Saturday, 19 teams took part in the Clash at the Creek. It was the Relay for Life softball tournament, and they felt like it was a good success, and I think it was too, because they raised over $600 for the Relay for Life.
Wow.
Great.
And they want to thank all the teams, umpires, volunteers, workers, and all the fans that came out to cheer on the teams. And they remind everyone they hope to see you next year, and mark your calendars for the 25th and 26th of June. Hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer then.
Wow, so they take a whole new weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, they completely moved it to the end of June instead of the first, well, end of May.
May, right.
So,
what's interesting too is those names, they kind of make me chuckle compared to some of our fast pitch team names.
Yeah.
You know, you look at these totally different setup of how they, call themselves.
well, a lot of them are typically, I think,
Business
names. They just name themselves after the business, and the business that's sponsoring them. What better branding can you give?
Right, absolutely.
Oh, other than winning the tournament for them. That's probably some good branding.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we talked about Spearfish. They had both men's and women's slow pitch this last weekend. There was also the Sherman Park Throwback Tournament this past weekend here in Sioux Falls, and they were supposed to have both men's and women's divisions. Again, if you were there, if you have some great pictures or some funny stories, we'd love to hear them and share them.
Yep, I wonder why they call it throwback.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's another question for you. Who won the tournament, and why is it called the Throwback? Maybe they come in costume.
That'd be fun.
That would be really fun. Really fun.
As we've talked earlier, slow pitch and what happens at slow pitch diamonds
Stays at slow pitch diamonds.
So if they're with costumes, they're staying there.
Unless we can get some good pictures to put out.
Right.
Put out on our social media. I did do a search on social media and couldn't find any results. So, well, that's kind of what happened this past weekend for tournaments. We're probably going to go ahead and do a quick wrap up and for right now, and because we have a special guest coming on, and we're going to turn the whole show over to you, Travis, and to Ed Keefe to talk about college softball.
Should be fun.
Yeah, you can share with our viewers what they should be doing. Don't you think?
Sounds great. Great information.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back. Actually, Travis and Ed Keefe will be right back to talk college softball.
Getting recruited by college coaches is more difficult every year. There are thousands of other athletes competing for your position. MyPlayerPage.com is the best place for athletes to showcase their personal and player information. Check us out today at MyPlayerPage.com. Any sport, any athlete, any state, any city, champions all.
Welcome back, Softball 605 fans, and with us now today is Ed Keefe, the head coach at Dakota Wesleyan, and he's here to share with some knowledge of kind of the recruiting process, but also the do's and don'ts maybe from players and parents through that process. So Ed, just kind of to kick us off, what would you say to a parent, because I'm sure you get this question all the time, what are college coaches looking for in an athlete?
Well, obviously it's going to be different depending on the needs of the school or at the time, depending on what they're recruiting for. But I think the main thing that you have to realize is that one of the things that coaches look at first when they're recruiting and looking at a profile, for instance, is GPA. You know, that's one of the top things that I look at. My recruiting is built around GPA, and my scholarshiping is built around that. So it's important for me to get a good student with the high GPA. That doesn't mean we won't recruit someone with a lower GPA. It's just, it's a lot easier for me in my situation with an NAIA private school like Dakota Wesleyan to have someone with a little higher GPA, and we can get them a little more academic money to go along with some softball money. Division I, obviously they're looking for something. Obviously they want good grades too, but they're a little more built for athletes who are going to be playing a lot of softball. So Division II is kind of the same way a little bit, depending on the school. But yeah, it just kind of depends on where the coach is in the recruiting process, what they need. Do they need pitchers? Do they need infielders, outfielders? Do they need everything? But the main thing that you can tell parents is make sure your student is studying a lot. They have good grades. They're studying for their ACTs or their SATs, and that'll get them started on the right path. Absolutely.
Right. You know, and I love how you talk about that, because I think the NAIA and really the Division II really emphasize a lot that these athletes are students first, athletes second. And you know, when as coaches we emphasize that idea that we really need good GPAs, good grades to really come in and be successful. I mean, on and off the field, it takes that athlete to be well-rounded that way.
Yeah. Yes, and you know, it's important, I think, just for the fact that they're going to get a degree in 4 years. The better they do during school, the easier it's going to be for them to get a job when they get done with school. And that's really where most NAIA student athletes are going to end up. They're going to get their degree, and they're probably going to get a job in that degree track. And so it's important for us to make sure that they're successful in that, as well as play some softball and hopefully do very well at that at the same time.
Absolutely.
So
now, Ed, with coaching in a climate that we have in South Dakota, what are some challenges that you've seen getting athletes maybe from warmer state climates to come here? And then what do you do to prepare your team for this season when you start practice?
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely a difference between West Coast, Southern teams where you can play softball pretty much 12 months out of the year, to South Dakota where we might play 5 months, have some indoor practice throughout the winter, maybe work on pitching and hitting and those types of things. The challenges are pretty big. I mean, obviously, to get a player from, say, California, where they're very deep in players and it's good players, you have to really be able to recruit well to get those players to come to the Midwest. And if you look at our rosters around the Midwest, and especially, you know, even in South Dakota, there are a lot of California players, and that's just because there's so many of them, and they're good players. We do our best to make sure that we don't skip any South Dakota players or anybody in our region as well. We want to make sure that we have some local talent on our teams, and that's something that is also a challenge, because a lot of them kids want to go somewhere else. So there's challenges all around. You have to do your best to present your opportunity as this is what is best for your player. And honestly, that's one of the conversations we have, is making sure that players visit more than 1 or 2 universities when they're in that process, when they're juniors, or maybe early in their senior year, they're visiting different places. I always ask, one of the questions is, have you been to other schools yet? And if they say no, I say you need to go visit 2 or 3, you know, because I want to make sure that our fit is good for them. We don't want a player to come in and find out in September, oh gosh, you know, I really don't like it here. You know, we don't want to, and we haven't had that issue. So we make sure that we help them in that process. And I think, you know, we have to make sure that they understand, because they don't always know. You know, they get to a school and they're high school players or students, and they're all excited to say, yeah, I want to sign today. It's like, well, we need to slow down a little bit. And so, but there's a lot of challenges in the upper Midwest, especially. I think we do fairly well with it. A lot of very good coaches in our area and in South Dakota, and so I think we do pretty good.
You kind of touched on it, and that was the next thing I was going to kind of ask you, is in our state, you know, having our 2 Division I schools, SDSU, USD, you know, we have our Division II schools, Augie, USF, Northern, Black Hills State, and then we have our NAIA school of Dakota Wesleyan, DSU. you know, kind of how do you compare, because you talked about it, and I think this is critical for the sport of softball in our state, recruiting local talent.
Right.
You know, some of those kids in our state want to play at a higher level, and some of our kids in our state can play at, you know, all three levels and be successful. It really depends on, like what you said, that perfect match or that fit for them. But how do you match up against those, and what do you offer compared to them differently that kind of sets you apart?
Yeah, it's tough, you know, and there's two other NAIA schools. You got Mount Marty and you got Presentation, and you know. Just want to make sure we get those two in there too, because they're very good. They're very good schools and good programs, softball programs, and it is tough for a small university like the Dakota Wesleyan, for instance. If it's a high level player in our state, it's going to be tough for me to recruit that person. Especially if one of the Division II or the Division I teams are after them, I'm probably have to give them everything I can possibly give them, which isn't going to be enough if they want to go Division I or Division II. So we have to make sure that the people that we're contacting or are contacting us understand the opportunity that we have, and we kind of know the players that fit into our system, and we go after the ones that we feel can help us. Can get a degree and do well at Dakota Wesleyan, and that's the same for any NAIA school, because we're all in kind of all four of us are in kind of the same situation. Smaller school, going up against Division II, you know, Augustana, USF, and then the Division I's. You know, obviously that's a whole nother level from where we're at. So we have to be smart about it and make sure that we're not wasting our time trying to go after somebody that's probably, you know, going to go somewhere else, and good for them. I think that's great. So
absolutely,
we're happy for them. Yeah,
it's incredible that when you think about our state, one, we're not sanctioned as a high school sport yet. Hopefully that day will come, but we have 10 universities that offer the collegiate sport of softball. You know, from NAIA up to the Division I. You know, when does it become an emphasis for our state, do you feel, that this becomes sanctioned, where we can hopefully get kids to stay local at all levels?
Well, I think there's a lot of people in the softball world that really feel that it should have been done years ago, and you know, that's up to the South Dakota High School Athletic Association, obviously. I know that there will probably be another push to get that done, and it kind of, the thing about it is, I think the way that it's run right now is good, but I think student athletes don't feel like it's a legitimate sport yet, and so by getting it sanctioned by the South Dakota High School Athletic Association, I think those athletes feel better about it, and we have some very good softball players, you know, from middle school all the way up through high school, and they're getting better. Every year you see more of them, and they're getting better, and so sanctioning is a big deal, and I don't know if the administrators in the high schools are not willing to go after it, or what it is, but we're definitely going to see, I think, another go for it as far as getting the sanction in the state of South Dakota. Last state in the United States to have it. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous if you ask me, but not too many administrators want to hear that, I don't think. So.
Right. No, absolutely. You know, and like I said, it's crazy that we have universities here that are supporting that sport and that program, and our high schools haven't gotten on board to say, you know what, this is important for us to give this opportunity to the kids, you know. And I think that's what's great about Softball 605 is that this is the voice of softball, and our kids get a voice now with that, and so it's exciting to see that, and hopefully by Softball 605 becoming more apparent and out on the fields and grabbing these interviews with these athletes, that the state really starts to see that value in what our summer programs and our summer leagues offer for these kids, that it can become something bigger.
Well, and there's a lot of scholarship money out there for softball players, and that can't be overlooked by the administration that makes that decision. And the more opportunities they have, the more scholarship money they're going to get, and it's going to help the students in the long run. I think right now, the way that it's set up, everybody does the best they can to get out in front of college coaches in the area, and they go to clinics and camps and whatnot. But I think you might see more interest from even Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska coaches, college coaches, if it was sanctioned. I think you lose a lot of those coaches just for the fact that it's not sanctioned, and people they don't take it seriously, and that's too bad. It really is a shame that that has to be that way. But I really feel that that's what we're seeing with the fact that it's not sanctioned. So yeah, we need to get it done.
Absolutely. You know, Ed, also kind of talking on that lines of recruiting and athletes, what would you say are you seeing from this recruiting class, you know, probably from 2014 up now, of what we see with the athlete coming in? Because no longer are we seeing necessarily athletes all playing just, you know, 2 sports or 3 sports. Some athletes are really focusing on one sport. That's what they want to be a part of, and that's good for them. But what are you seeing from a college standpoint of that sort of athlete coming into the programs, but also then tournaments? You see a lot more showcase tournaments than you do tournaments that are competitive or high caliber teams are coming in and competing day in and day out for a championship compared to just showcasing the talent.
Well, and you know, it's nice to see, you know, from my standpoint, when I go out and visit somebody, or if I get a profile either in the email or in the regular mail, it's nice to see so many softball players that are focusing on softball. We do have 2 sport players. We have one at Dakota Wesleyan that plays basketball and softball, but it's tough, you know, and so we like to see players that are interested in softball. If it's a player that we think is a good student and deserves an opportunity, we're not going to turn them down on a 2-sport thing. But we would like to see them focus on one sport. Obviously, softball would be the one that we'd want. And the tournaments, yeah, there are a lot of showcases. There's a lot more every year. I think in the state of South Dakota, you're starting to see a lot more showcase type tournaments. That's great, and you know, as long as the kids are out there having opportunities to get in front of coaches, college coaches, or whoever, that's going to help them. So that's always good. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Ed, thanks for joining us today and kind of talking recruiting and college softball. The world continues to change, and
absolutely.
You know, you probably see it every day when you're out on the field. A different style of athlete and different style of really play is happening. You know, we're seeing a lot more lefties come in. You know, that slap game. I mean, at the College World Series, we see it coming into a big play already with the teams, and so. But we just thank you for sharing your experiences and what you're looking for. And we'll be back, Softball 605, to talk about upcoming tournaments and where some of our South Dakota teams are going this coming weekend.
You've worked hard all year. I need you to bring it, dig down deep today, because today, everybody plays.
Everybody plays.
Everybody plays.
Everybody plays.
Play. When we first learned to work together, it was through play. We learned social skills, give and take, freedom and teamwork through play. There's no age limit on play, no skill level required. Play It Again Sports knows play. We buy and sell new and quality used sports and fitness equipment for less, so everybody can play.
You bet I play. Now it's time to play.
Play It Again Sports.
Play It Again Sports.
Play It Again Sports.
The official sponsor of
all those that play.
All right, welcome back to This Week on the Diamonds with Travis, Sandy, and Carol. We're here to talk a little bit more about softball and the tournaments. And, you know, we didn't even talk about what you did this last weekend, Sandy.
This last weekend, I was in Rapid City for the state high school track meet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, see, you're another person that would have been taken away from softball.
Right. That's a good reason. We planned our softball tournament schedule around track, because we do know that our girls are getting to the age where high school track could be a factor in the numbers for the softball team. So ended up going to the state track meet.
And your daughter participated?
She did.
And what did she run?
She ran the 4x2, the 4x4, and then she was an alternate for the 4x1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How'd they do?
They did not qualify for the finals,
Okay.
but she had a personal best in her 200 and her 400.
Hey.
Yep. So
that's great.
and she had a great time just traveling with the team. She's a freshman at O'Gorman, and so it was just a really neat experience for her to get to meet some of the and spend some time with some of the older classmen and just kind of see how a school sports trip goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well,
she had a great time.
when you get to the state tournament, there's not really any looking at what grade you're in.
No.
So it's just
no,
it's just how
certainly.
fast you are.
Certainly
right?
not. Yeah.
So that's great.
Yep. It was the first day was held at Sturgis, and the weather was pretty awful. It was foggy and it was rainy, and there was no thunder or lightning, so they ran it. So the conditions were, and it was like 46 degrees.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was very cold. Yep. So it was a cold first 4 hours of the meet, and then it started to kind of warm up, and the rain did stop, and I think some of the times started getting a little bit better. But
But it wouldn't be a state track meet without it being freezing cold.
yeah, it was just
Or
that.
maybe even snow on occasion.
Yeah, those weekends just never fall in line with them very well.
No. Nope, and this was one of them.
No.
So
Yeah, your muscles have to be warmed up to be able to work well.
absolutely.
That's true, so.
But it was exciting. It's fun to see, when you are involved in a community of athletics and whatnot. There's a lot of girls and boys that I recognize that I don't know exactly maybe what grade they're in or what schools they're at, but there was a lot of familiar faces, and there was a lot of goals being accomplished, and it was just really fun to watch them excel and to participate in that. It was really neat.
Well, a lot of the kids that you'll see there are probably multi-sport athletes.
They
You
are.
probably see doing other athletics around the state and around the area. So,
Yeah.
well, it's a beautiful, slightly windy day here, and there's some important reasons that we all want to have nice weather this upcoming weekend.
Absolutely.
I have an outdoor wedding that would be in the Black Hills, so we don't want that weather that you had in Sturgis.
Well, we took that off your hands last
Thank you.
weekend, so this
Thank
should
you.
be really nice this weekend.
You picked it up and taken it with you to Minnesota next weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
We'll do our best to do
For
that.
this weekend? Yeah. Is that where you're going this weekend, right?
Yes. Yep.
Well, we do have a few adult tournaments going on, slow pitch this weekend. We have victory at the VET, the 8th annual men's slow pitch tournament. It's at the Veterans Complex in Webster. They have, that's both Saturday and Sunday, they have a men's division E, Rec 1 and Rec 2. Can you tell me what that is, a men's division E?
I would say there'll be a lot of coolers there.
Okay. Good
Again,
weekend.
what happens there stays there.
Stays at the Diamonds, yes.
Victory at the VET. Have you
Yep.
been to the complex in Webster?
Never.
No.
I haven't either. Well, we wish you all luck there. May your cooler remain full.
Full. And cold.
And cold. Women's slow pitch. There is in Rapid City at the Star of the West complex, the one that we've talked about.
Right.
I do hope you get a chance to go check that out sometime. It's a really nice complex.
To do that.
They have battling against breast cancer women's slow pitch tournament this weekend on Saturday.
Cool.
I kind of like that little play on the battling
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
battling. And then in Mitchell, there is the Mitchell Women's Slow Pitch Invitational at Cadwell Park. I have not been to that park either. Have you been there?
Yeah, that's a nice park.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where's it at?
It is on, the back side of Mitchell, so a little west, probably the west side of town.
Okay.
Out by the bypass that goes around the back side of Mitchell. So right off that road, that highway there.
I know there are hockey facilities off around that way too. And,
Yep.
And there's a lot of green area, so it's probably kind of tucked back in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, they have, it's open to all divisions, but if they have interest, and it'll be interesting to find out if they had enough interest, they were also having a 35 and over division. I'm still waiting for that 5 and over division. But I can't quite say that on the air. So that's all that there is for adult slow pitch, and I did not find any adult fast pitch coming up this weekend or any co-ed slow pitch, the 14-16. But there's some youth fast pitch going on. You have that list, Sandy?
There is. Actually, I'll let Travis handle that because one of the big tournaments this weekend is ASEF's sponsored memorial tournament.
Right. Yeah. It's incredible to see what has happened here probably in the last week. Brandon Valley has their invite always on the first weekend of June, and we always have our tournament on basically the dates of 6, 7, 8. And so for the last 2 years, our date has fallen on the first weekend.
2 years in a row, yeah.
And so Brandon and our tournament kind of coincide at the same time.
That's unfortunate.
It is, especially when we're in so close proximity of each other. And Mitchell is having a fast pitch memorial tournament this year for a young lady who lost her life, and so the proceeds of that tournament is going to go back to the family. And so Mitchell's got one, Sioux Falls has got one, and Brandon's got one.
And that's the Tan of Kingsbury,
yes,
right?
Yep.
They call it the Tan Dogs Memorial Tournament.
Yep, and that's this is the first year of it, really just in honor of that young athlete.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I mean, Mitchell's got it, Sioux Falls has got it, Brandon's got it.
Sturgis has one.
And then Sturgis out west, and so our West River teams are probably staying home this weekend to play out there. And so it is a big weekend of softball around the state for fast pitch, and a lot of fast pitch for all levels, A, B, and our recreational levels. And so the Memorial Tournament, we have 42 teams signed up for the B and the
awesome.
rec levels. And so we're excited. Probably our most competitive division will be our 18 and under division, because we have the defending champions of the 18U recreational division, Team Riot. That will be here. Coach Tom Reed, and then we have the 16U rec champions from last year that had to move up a division, the Harrisburg Tigers, that are coached by Coach Cochran. The Harrisburg Tiger Stars will be here, and so those two will be in the same division this year. And we've got a fast pitch team coming from Pierre in that division, as well as Team Chaos. And so,
wow.
I mean, we've got some teams that have not played each other yet, and they'll get their first kind of the prep for state at this tournament. And so the 18U division looks to be a good division,
really good,
for teams to compete. The division that has the most teams is our 14 and under rec division.
Is that common that the 14U is a higher? It seems like it probably would
and
be.
12s.
12s and 14s are probably your higher attended tournament divisions. Our 14 rec have 6 teams signed up, and really anywhere from Hartford down to Canton, and then our Sioux Falls teams. And so that division, I mean, a lot of teams that probably haven't seen each other yet either so early in the year, that division looks to be pretty good. Something that we really are proud about the Memorial Tournament is something we started a few years back after quite a few of our board members had gone to nationals. And at the national tournament, they do, after each pool play game, the teams select another player from their opposing team as an MVP of the game.
Oh, cool.
And so we brought that back to our Memorial, and so after every pool play game, each team will select another player from the other team as the MVP. And they'll get a medal for that game and kind of recognition that way. And
that's
so
neat.
It's just something added to the tournament. It gives the girls something to look forward to of pool play, and then we hand out first and second place trophies on Sunday afternoon to all our teams. And so it looks to be a busy day at Sherman Park. We'll be right here, so our kids get to play on the nice diamonds of Sioux Falls. And for having as many teams, our teams will also be playing under the lights at 8 o'clock that night.
Oh, wow.
Cool
they love playing under the lights.
Yeah, we'll have one 10U group that will be playing.
A 10U group even.
We'll be playing under the lights, which will be fun to watch them just get that experience and that opportunity.
And it seems like most of the tournaments are 10U through 16U, and quite a few add 18U.
Yep.
Does that seem pretty consistent across the?
Yeah, and most of them offer the 18U. There's just typically, it's just a
sometimes
tough
the
age.
numbers.
It is a tough age group, Those girls have a lot of stuff going on and
jobs, other events.
It's hard.
Now with the MVP that you're doing, that's really an interesting thing to do. Now, is that in all age divisions or just a couple?
It's all age divisions. So each team will show up when they check in. They'll get 3 medals because they'll play 3 pool play games, and they'll hand those medals out during each of their pool
so they
play
actually
games.
get to present the medal even. I like that even more. And it's such an honor to be chosen by your opponent.
Right.
And it's one thing for your teammates to choose you, and that's always really wonderful too.
Right.
But I like that concept. That's really neat.
It's something new, and we hope that it can, we can continue to offer it. But it's been really, our last 2 years of doing it, it's been really accepted, and teams have looked forward to it.
Yeah.
And then you look over at Brandon, they've got over 40, I believe 45 teams coming into their tournament for this weekend, and so over there, their tournament is geared more A and B, more highly competitive teams, and so over there they're going to get a different level of play, but it will still be a great opportunity for kids to get on the dirt and play. And so when you look at our tournament at 42, theirs at 45 plus, I mean, we've got over 80-some teams just here in Sioux Falls.
Wow, that's a lot of kids
playing softball this weekend. So.
Well, and you're going to be doing something else this weekend at the Sioux Empire Memorial Tournament. the tournament program.
Yep, absolutely.
So we're pretty excited about that.
And that will be something new. We're excited about it as well. Hopefully that will open up communication. Our parents can have access to it anytime. A lot of them will have the smartphone, and so they'll be able to get online and see the live bracket and the update of scores, and really have that experience that they don't necessarily have to always come check down at headquarters of what was the score of that game, or is our games running ahead, that sort of thing.
And it puts all the information right where people want it on their smartphones.
So as a parent, how do I get that?
I think it's going to be SiouxFallsTournaments.com. SiouxFallsTournaments.com. We will put a link on Softball 605. I'm sure you'll put one on your site as well.
Okay, I see.
But people will be able to just go on your smartphone. And you can take it. It's a mobile app site is what it is. And you could actually turn it into an app on your phone by just saving that site on your phone, whether it's an iPhone or a Android phone. You just save it to your desktop, and there you got the icon. Click on it, and you're right there.
Awesome.
It doesn't take up all the memory space on your phone that a regular app does. So that'll be helpful.
Yeah, we're excited to run it and test it out, and it's kind of our first opportunity to really get Softball 605 out there with us and really helping us, get the news out to the people.
Yeah, and it'll be the first youth tournament that the tournament program has been used for. It's been used for a lot of other youth tournaments, but not softball, and some adult softball tournaments, so we're excited for that as well.
Absolutely.
So we know what you're going to be doing this weekend.
Yes, I will be busy being tournament director. We'll be doing some interviews with
You'll be doing some Softball 605 interviews?
Absolutely. And so hopefully the weather holds out so that we have just a great weekend. Probably the most stressful thing, and I won't sleep Thursday night into Friday or Friday night into Saturday because I'll be worried about if it's going to rain and do I have to delay games.
Maybe we can be texting back and forth. I need no rain for a wedding and a rehearsal dinner outside. So, and you need no rain for softball. So we'll be on the same page, and I know you want nice weather too.
It'd be nice.
What are you going to be doing this weekend?
I will be in Plymouth, Minnesota. There's a tournament there. I think it's a 10U up to 18U tournament, so my team will be traveling to Plymouth, Minnesota to play some ball.
Wow. And now, I know you really do a great job, Sandy, of keeping a pulse on where the teams are going. Do you know about some of the other teams across South Dakota where they might be going this weekend? We have some big tournaments right here.
Yeah, you know what, I think that a good portion, I know that quite a few teams in my club, they will be going to the Brandon tournament.
Okay.
I think one of them might be playing in the B level of the Memorial Tournament. There's always tournaments in Lincoln, Nebraska, Omaha, Minnesota, so it's just getting to the time of year where there are just so many tournaments to choose from that
Isn't it
teams
exciting?
will just scatter.
It is softball season officially. It's really in full swing.
Absolutely. And I know you've talked about it, Carol, but it's really important for our fans of Softball 605 to definitely give us updates, because that's like Sandy said, our teams are going all over the place, and we do want to talk about them. I mean, we even want to get people on the show and interview them and interview their teams of what they did that weekend. So if you do have information and you do have stuff, well, Carol, where would be a good place for them to send that stuff and us to be able to communicate with them?
They can email it to me, Carol, just C-A-R-O-L, as in Christmas Carol, plain and simple, at softball605.com. And we love to watch the kids play.
Right.
But there are so many games and so many tournaments, you can't get to all of them. No. So for us, the next best thing to see them play is to be able to find out about how things went and help you celebrate.
Right.
You know, it's in full swing, and it's an exciting time, and we want to share your exciting news. So please share that information with us.
Absolutely.
You know, we've got and then the other thing we always want to remind you of too is everywhere you go, people are watching. So whether you're a fan or a player, always be on your best behavior at all times. You know, the sportsmanship is such a key part of people valuing the sport, and don't discredit softball by choosing to demonstrate bad sportsmanship. Don't you feel it's a kind of a commitment to the game?
Absolutely. And it's a commitment to youth, and it's a commitment to yourself, and it's just
respect others, your opponents, teammates, the officials, and honor the game.
Yep, be nice, see what happens, kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Well, we covered a lot. And by the way, you guys had a great segment with Ed on college coaching. Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
You know, we need to do more of that to give the players out there that are considering college or already know they want to play college ball some of the things they need to think about. So great job. Let's do that again.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun. I mean, like Ed and I talked about, we've got 10 universities or colleges right here in South Dakota that offer the collegiate sports, and so we definitely could highlight each program at a different time and bring their coaches on and have that opportunity. So I mean, it'd be fun to visit with everybody, because like Ed said, you know, his perspectives from the NAI level, you know, it's different at each level because of what their needs are and what they're able to do with their finances.
Well, let's see what we can do to get some of those other coaches on. We can do a Travis coach-to-coach session during the show. Coaches talking coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for joining us for this week on the Diamonds. We're going to go on about our week and get ready for the Sioux Empire Memorial Tournament.
Yeah.
A wedding.
The Plymouth
softball tournament.
Yeah.
We hope you have a great week, and best of luck to all the players wherever you're going this weekend. Play with all you have and give it all you got. I'm Carol McKee with Softball 605.
I'm Travis Lape.
I'm Sandy Delker-Holbert.
And you are Softball 605.
Bargain Bites has a huge supply of refurbished electronics. They're a Microsoft authorized refurbisher. Just look at this. Computers as low as $100 and a wide variety of electronics, all so affordable. Look at these deals. A Dell 4-core laptop, fully tested, only $200. A MacBook, fully tested and ready to go, only $200. Subscribe to the Bargain Bites YouTube channel and get all sorts of great tips from super technician Brendan. Bargain Bites, just east of the airport off Benson Road. Visit them today online at bargainbites.net.